Can you imagine how fucking lame the X-Files episodes would be if they were like being made right now and based on like modern day conspiracy and stuff like that? Like there would be an episode where like Scully and Mulder are investigating coronavirus being spread by 5G towers.
Okay, so I don't know if you know this, but they did come back for a 10th season a few years ago, and they actually dealt with the real issue that we live in a time where even Mulder seems tame.
That's true, actually. Yeah, your average like Alex Jones fan is way more down the rabbit hole than fucking fucks Mulder.
Yeah, so I mean, season 10, a lot of people didn't really get into season 10, but it had some good episodes. But I think it did deal with that a little bit.
I think that we would have episodes where, you know, it turns out that this playboy billionaire with his secret sex island was actually like a reptilian from another galaxy.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty cool. I think that'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
And you know, they'd definitely be doing an episode where they like bust into this secret government lab where they're engineering the murder hornets.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, because that actually is an episode of X-Files.
Oh, shit.
Where there's an engineered, like, it's spread by smoking. It makes these, like, beetles infest your lungs.
Holy shit. So are you saying that, like, the script writers for reality are just ripping off the X-Files at this point?
They're ripping off the X-Files, totally, yeah, 100%.
Welcome, Dead and Lovely listeners, to the brand newest installment of Dead and Lovely, your favorite horror movie podcast in all the known multiverse and beyond. Here with the host with the most, it's me, your good buddy, Uncle Ben Eller.
Me, Hollywood Steve.
You Hollywood Steve, strong me, like tree. You know, Steve, I guess I just got X-Files on the brain because we just recorded a brand new Patreon exclusive episode in which we deep dove into a classic X-Files episode, and everybody that supports us on Patreon can check that out, even at just the $1 a month level. Steve, where can they go?
Patreon.com/Dead and Lovely.
Ooh, audience applause. The crowd's going wild. Yeah. Let us give you our money.
Yeah, take it. Here you go.
Always a good time doing those Patreon exclusive episodes, and more are coming for sure because I'm having a damn old good time with them.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad we decided to do this because I love horror anthology stuff, and man, talking about the X-Files today was fun.
And I love giving back to all you loyal and lovely supporters. That's absolutely damn right. Steve, how you doing this week, man?
Man, I'm getting it done. I've been
TCB, baby, taking care of business.
That's right. I've been taking care of business. I got my Legacy of Brutality episode out like 3 days late because I was agonizing over how to divide up the 1940s for a weekend.
I just imagine you, and you've got like 3 days worth of stubble, and you have a pin behind your ear, I think.
Oh,
and
definitely.
You're like pulling at your hair, and just there's stacks of paper everywhere. It's kind of like that.
Yeah, and there's yarn. There's like yarn and thumbtacks like leading all over the place to different pictures and like newspaper articles and stuff.
Yep. Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah.
I also imagine you're pantless, no pants.
Oh, absolutely. What am I gonna do with pants?
That's not gonna help nothing.
No, it's getting in the way.
Well, that's cool, man. So you've been deep diving into some classic horror history for your show there?
Yeah, man. It's been fun, but it was agonizing there for a bit. I had a 30-page script basically that would make that would make an hour and a half episode.
Jeez.
But I couldn't figure out a way to really divide it up until I noticed this trend throughout the 40s and 50s of female horror antagonists.
Okay.
And I was like, man, I'm gonna scoop that up, drop that in the next episode, and then move on from there. And then, boom, I got it. So it finally all hit me, and I got it out, and I hope everybody enjoyed it.
There you go. Well, I look forward to hearing about it and checking it out myself, man. You checked out any other intriguing podcasts this week?
Yes, man. I am so glad you asked, because I was just listening to Bonanas for Bonanza.
Bonanas, you say?
I love. Okay, so the concept behind this is so fucking awesome. All right,
Drop it on me.
Andy Daly playing his Dalton Wilcox character, which he has played on several podcasts. Maria Bamford playing this Christian conservative character, and Matt Gorley playing his Mutt Taylor character, which he's played on several podcasts. And they are going to watch every episode of Bonanza and talk about it. Now, Bonanza has over 400 episodes.
Holy fuck. And basically they talk about it in character.
In character, with a guest every week who's in character. This week was Jason Mantzoukas, and it was awesome.
Oh my god. Is he in character or is he just Zoo?
Yeah, he's in character. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Holy shit. And they are doing every single fucking episode of Bonanza. Why?
Just the joke behind it is so hilarious, and the fact that they named it Bonanas for Bonanza, so it's hard as shit to find, because if somebody says,
I was gonna say,
you're like, oh, bananas for Bonanza. No, Bonanas for Bonanza.
Dude, and that's one of those things where I'm loving seeing what creative people are doing with their free time.
Yeah, me
during
too.
the time of
It's
COVID.
Awesome.
I love seeing just the desperate things that people are trying to come up with to do to stay busy.
Just like, what can we do? I have nothing else to do.
Yeah, other than 400 episodes of fucking Bonanza that I'm reviewing in character. That sounds hilarious. Like, I've never even watched a single episode of Bonanza, but
really?
I would listen to that podcast.
Oh, man. Well, one, you don't have to have seen Bonanza. If you have seen Bonanza, it is funnier, because so many, like, one of the things they talked about on the most recent episode is that you watch Haas eat in real time. 4 minutes of the episode is Haas just eating. That's what television was. 400 episodes of shit like that.
Well, yeah.
The characters are so inconsistent. There's a new, like, every other week, like, one of the boys has a love interest and she dies. The entire concept of the show is insane, and then the podcast idea is insane. So it's great.
Yeah, that sounds like a 10 out of 10. Easy.
It's awesome. Yeah, go check it out.
What else have you been watching? See anything else good?
Well, Emily's been watching You Are the Worst, which is hilarious.
I don't know what that is.
I've
what is
caught
that?
some of it. It's an FX show. It might have some people you know in it. Doug Benson's in it, but he's not like starring in it. Any of the stars though are probably not people you'd recognize, but it's definitely worth watching. Absolutely hilarious. I haven't sat down and watched it with her entirely, but the bits I've seen have been hilarious. But I did watch Watchmen on HBO.
So the series, not the movie.
Yeah, the series.
I have been hearing it's incredible.
Very good.
Really?
Yeah, dude. Very good.
So it's not like a sequel, or rather, it's not like a retelling.
No,
it's a sequel
building
or something,
on it's building on the Watchmen original, like, graphic novel.
Yeah, but didn't the world end at the end of that?
Watch the show.
Okay.
Yeah, watch how they deal with it. It's there's a lot. It's very interesting. But no, I mean, at the end of Watchmen, he prevented the world from ending by teleporting in the extra dimensional squid.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that, like, caused them to not shoot nuclear missiles at each other.
Okay.
It picks up years later. Now, days. But it does still have, like, man, I don't want to say too much, because the way it plays out is so good. Like, it's everything is kind of slowly revealed, and it's the new characters they introduce are all, like, super interesting. There's a character named Panda, who's just, as far as I can understand, a guy wearing a stuffed panda bear head, not like an actual panda bear, but like a stuffed panda bear. head.
Yeah, like a plush.
But he's wearing like a shirt and tie.
Okay,
he works.
All right.
He works for the police.
That sounds like, dude. That just sounds like one of your Halloween costumes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm Panda.
I'm Panda. Anyway, but it works so perfectly in the world. Like I just man. But they gave the free preview and it's been people have been talking about it recently because it has the Tulsa race massacre in the first episode, and this is something that apparently a lot of Americans don't know about.
Oh yeah, little relevant, a little bit relevant right now.
Yeah, so if you don't know what the Tulsa race massacre is, one, the Watchmen depiction of it is heart-wrenching, but two, it was a town right outside of Tulsa, Greenwood, I believe it's called, where it was all black businesses. It was called the Black Wall Street. It was a successful, thriving community, and white people just came in and destroyed their town. And
now, why would they do
bombed
that? Are you saying they don't want black people getting money and taking care of themselves? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
Impossible.
So, when racists say, like, well, why don't they have their own successful communities? It's like, well, you come in and destroy them.
Blew it up.
You create policies so that they can't. You flood their streets with crack. You do all these things that are meant to destroy their communities. So
that's kind of why.
That's kind of why you're trying to create this world that you want to be true. You want black people to fail, so you make it happen,
and then blame them for it. Yep. So let me ask you this though, Steve, and this is what's really gonna get me to watch the show or just not watch it. Okay. It all hinges on one very important question. On a scale of 6 to 7,
right?
How much floppy blue dong do I get to look at on the screen?
A bit. A good bit, in fact. And
would you rate it a 6.9 on a scale of 6 to 7?
I'm gonna say this floppy blue dong is up there, dude. You wait till you see it.
Damn,
dude, the way it all plays out is so good. That like last 2 episodes really got me. So
dude.
I highly recommend it, and I know that Damon Lindelof he was like basically the producer of the show, but he's leaving the show as far as I understand, but he does want it to continue. He just wants them to do like a different person come in and do a different season each season, which I think is a great idea.
Yeah.
So I hope it does get a second season, and I'd love to see more of it. It like, because the way that they build the world, and like it's this entire alternate world now, because it's, it just picks up right where it left off, and you have this whole alternate universe of what happened after the squid.
Right. Yeah. That's rare too for something to like pick up on a extremely beloved, comic book or graphic novel storyline and actually do it justice.
Yeah, exactly. To
pretty
do
fucking
it justice,
rare, man.
It's great. Oh, Gene Smart's in it too, and Gene Smart is like Matthew McConaughey had his McConaissance. I think we're having like a smartening, because like she did so good in Fargo season 2. She's so good in Legion. She's amazing in Watchmen. Like, she's fucking awesome.
Well, that sounds worth a watch right there, so I'll have to check that out. Well, speaking of comic books, I watched me a little comic book movie the other day.
Oh, what it were?
Well, my wife, she had this idea. She said, oh, we watch all the Marvel movies in chronological order. And I say, yes. We talk like that at home. That's our love language.
I feel like she was chopping garlic while she was saying it.
Absolutely so.
Yep, makes sense.
I mean, this is kind of a common occurrence. We're kind of always doing that around here anyway.
Always be chopping, you guys say.
Always be chopping. But yeah, we had this idea that, we'd start watching through all of them. So we started with Captain America, the first Avenger.
The first Avenger, yeah. Okay, so I haven't seen it in a while. What were your thoughts?
I hadn't either. Still a fun flick, man. I think it's still kind of like underrated in the greater scheme of like, all the Marvel movies.
Yeah,
I think
Hugo
it's pretty
Weaving
damn fun.
as Red Skull was good.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic casting. And I mean, even like Chris Evans as Captain America is still great. And a lot of the CG and stuff still looks really good. Like where, he's like young and skinny, but it's got the Chris Evans head on top.
Right.
Still holding up. Still looking pretty good. I forgot that like fucking Tommy Lee Jones was in it. The notorious TLJ.
Right. That's him. That's him.
Yeah, just a fun one. It's got some good like Indiana Jones style action beats and stuff in it too. You know, lots of like planes and motorcycles and car chases and shit like that. Still definitely a fun watch, man. So that one holds up pretty well. And then the other day, as part of our new Documonday tradition, where Kate and I watch a documentary every Monday, last night we watched, I think it was on Netflix, The Death and Life of Marsha P. Johnson.
Oh, I haven't seen this.
And do you know who Marsha P. Johnson is?
I do not think so.
You would recognize her if you saw her. She was a luminary, game changer in the transgender world, was a huge part of like the Stonewall riots and stuff.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yep.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yes, I do know who you're talking about.
A black transvestite who was mysteriously probably murdered. They ruled it as suicide, but the case is like reopened and stuff again. So it's just kind of the story of Marsha's life, and the quest to figure out exactly what happened that resulted in her death and stuff, and just how the justice system really just shits all over trans people.
Yeah.
Like they're the less dead. It's like when a prostitute gets murdered or something, where they're just like, we don't really care.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Really unfortunate. A lot of the historical stuff was really good in terms of the way that they talked about,
It's insane that we've allowed forever the existence of a force that just is okay with thinking some people are trash people that just get thrown away.
Yeah.
I don't know how we've continued this. I don't understand it. It's insane. We got to do something about it.
Yeah, no kidding, man. But yeah, it was a pretty good documentary. I thought it was like a little bit long, a little bit boring in some parts, but still just a cool story about a very important figure. That you think about stuff like that as being so long ago and all that jazz.
Not that long ago.
No. I mean, they interviewed tons of people that were there for the Stonewall riots and all that kind of stuff that are still alive and well. It's like that stuff just doesn't live in the past. That wasn't that long ago.
No.
It's crazy to think how shitty things were.
Right.
I mean, things aren't where they should be yet, but God, they used to be a lot worse.
They have improved. But yeah, we're just going so slow. It's the slowest progression, and it seems like regression every day. It's
no doubt
the worst. Anyway,
did you guys do some horror movie watching on our Dead and Lovely streaming chat last Friday?
Streaming chat was fun, man. We had some times. We were watching the old Joe Bob stream, Last Drive-In on Shudder. It was the last episode, season finale.
Ooh.
They did Hellraiser 2.
Okay.
And they did Hell Comes to Frogtown, which is one we've done on the stream and chat before.
Yeah, that's right.
Man, that movie is so insane.
I still haven't seen it. I need to check it out.
It's insane.
How was Hellraiser 2?
Feels so long.
Yeah, right?
It just feels so long.
I remember that whenever we did that on the show like a year or two ago, because like in my memory, I was like, yeah, it's awesome. You got the really crazy mattress scene, the guy that has bugs all over him.
That scene is awesome, yeah.
Woo, man.
Yeah,
it still holds
got some
up.
dope scenes in it for sure.
But then I also forget, too, that there's the whole, like, other dimension with Leviathan and the maze and, like, the little girl.
Yeah,
and
the little girl
there's
part
a lot of stuff crammed in that
forgotten,
movie.
And still am not positive it's necessary at all. Like, what is it? How does it improve the story? Like,
I don't know.
Couldn't, what's her name? Christy? Or Kirsty? Or Kirsty or whatever.
I think it changes a few times.
By the way, she was on she was interviewed by Joe Bob in between.
Oh, wow.
In the segments, and she was awesome. Super fun person. Anyway.
Also, horror movie nerd correction. I was thinking of Kirsty from Dream Warriors. Just before some nerd gets really mad at me. I caught it too. I got it. I'm on top of my shit.
So Christy was on there, but she was the one who figured out the puzzle in the first one. Why not just have her be the one figuring out the puzzle in the second one?
man, I don't know.
It just doesn't make sense. Anyway.
No, there's some cool stuff in there, and I like that you get so much of Mrs. Heat Miser as the villain in it.
Yeah, but she doesn't have the Heat Miser hair, unfortunately.
She doesn't as much, does she?
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Oh, shit, man. But yeah, totally a cool watch, man. That's cool. I'm glad you guys had a good old time, and anybody that wants to join in for the streaming chats can do so.
Yeah, we continue beyond the last drive-in season. We choose the movies ourselves, usually YouTube, and we stream them on a thing called Watch Together, or you can just sync up with us on YouTube, and we chat over on Discord. It's a fun time still. Actually, it's more fun, honestly. I'll be honest with you. The streaming chats where we pick the movies, more fun.
Right, because you can just pick some real garbage and fucking pick it out, right?
Yeah.
Steve, I want to ask you a question. Just
Ask
listen.
away.
Just listen really closely. Can you hear a sound in the distance?
What is that?
Tell me, listen close. Can you hear this noise right here? Ooh,
cracking open a cold one.
That pleasing snap that you just heard. What could that have been?
Did you snap into a Slim Jim?
No, I snapped into a cold beer.
Oh, okay.
I've got myself a beer that I purchased over at Corks in the Old City in Knoxville. A great little store that has a great beer selection, too. This is the Bearded Iris Chief of Chiefs. Double dry hopped, double IPA with Citra, Simcoe, and Mosaic hops. And I'm excited to throw this into my face.
Throw it down.
Yeah, dude. I actually had a Bearded Iris the other day that I didn't care for very much. Yeah, it was called what was it called? Illuminator?
Bearded Irish shit beer.
Yeah, it's called the shit beer.
They were like, we made some beer out of shit. What does it taste like?
Well, it performed as advertised. I can't remember what it was called, Illumination or something like that. It was okay. Honestly, what it kind of tasted like, you know how with Bearded Iris, kind of everything tastes like home style, only just a little bit different?
Yeah, just slight differences, slight variations of awesomeness.
Yeah, this one that they made kind of tasted like the bag cereal version of home style.
I'm going to go ahead and step in here and say bag cereal better than box cereal.
Okay, all right.
But I get your
Sometimes
point.
it is.
Sometimes
it is.
Well, yeah, you're right. Because Cinnamon Toast Crunch is, I actually know the bag Cinnamon Toast Crunch is awesome.
It is still good, and it is cheaper, and you get a lot of it. So it actually is pretty good. It's less sweet than Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Yeah, which is fine with me, but you want that cinnamon. If you're gonna go for Cinnamon Toast Crunch, you want that sweet.
You want that real. Exactly. Yeah. That's the whole point. Yeah. That's the whole fucking point. It's garbage. Just make it junk, right?
Yeah, go all out if you're going to go. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to sipping on this boy. I just put this in my good old-fashioned mason jar, and it just looks like I'm having myself a good old glass of OJ, Steve.
Them city folk was a drinking from a mason jar.
It smells a lot like a Bearded Iris home style.
Do you know that song?
I don't know, okay. But I love the song already.
Neil McCoy, that's who that was.
Oh, I'll tell you what. That there is a Chief of Chiefs.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's definitely a boozier tasting version of home style. It does still kind of taste like home style.
Yeah.
It's got a deep funk to it.
Ooh.
Like a really deep, musty funkiness that's really pretty damn nice. Tastes like some old fruit. Tastes like somebody left some old fruit laying around.
I like that.
Put it in a beer. Hell, let's drink it.
Hell. I'm going to put it in this barrel over here and just let it sit around for a while.
Don't hurry on it now. Dude, I know that we haven't had any buddy beers on the show. We need to fix that up and do like a little social distant beer drop or something like that in the near future.
Drops,
Have you had any co-beers at all in the past few weeks?
No, I haven't had any co-beers at all.
Have you checked your pulse? How are you alive?
I've been sustaining myself with a little vodka soda. So
the old vodka soda.
Yeah, I'm all
right. You making homemade White Claws again?
You making them homemade White Claws and butt chugging them.
Like you do.
Yeah.
Well, that there is a pretty tasty beer. Bearded Iris fucks. That's true.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've heard it about them. They fuck. Well, Steve, the subject of our show today is L'Invitation from 2015. I'm not sure what accent that was.
It's very much an accent, though.
Yeah, foreign. It's foreign accent. Yep. And this is a movie about just some people just having themselves a good old house party. People like to party.
Yep.
They like to gather. Like
Who
to
likes
get together
to
with their
party?
friends.
Likes to party.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Conversations, food, drinking, disco dancing.
Yeah.
Everybody loves a party. But you know what, Steve? Not all parties are created equal. And some
That's
of
true.
them might even be parties you don't want to go to.
Yeah. Some of them might be potties.
Potties.
Yeah.
Yeah. That can happen.
Mhm.
That can happen. So, Steve, I say before we get into our movie review today, how about we just swing by the good old-fashioned Preview Palace?
Oh, hey, guys.
Oh,
hey,
remix.
come on in. Come on into the Preview Palace. Come on in. All right.
Oh,
No, not
hey,
you.
hey, I
Not
brought
you.
the
No,
sodas.
not you. Not you.
What?
You?
Oh,
yeah,
sorry,
you.
man.
All right. Cool. All right.
I'm on
Bye.
the guest list. Oh.
So we're in the Preview Palace now.
Okay, all right. I was going to say, all right, are we there yet? But yes, we are.
I turned
Not
the
a visual
music
medium
down because we
podcasting.
got to do the podcast thing, but it's a
Oh,
party.
that's what it was. Got it.
Yeah.
And Steve, I say before we start talking about the movie, how about we just talk about a couple of other movie parties that we've witnessed in films, and maybe we just kind of rate them on a scale of 1 to 10
Uh-huh.
and talk about them parties. Because some
Yeah.
of these, I'm not sure I'd like to be a guest at,
Yeah.
frankly.
Uh-huh.
We got some horror parties we're going to be
We
talking
do.
about and a couple of wild cards.
Let's hear them, bud. What you got?
All right, man. So, whenever I'm thinking about some popular horror parties that we could attend, maybe just go to and hang out,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about something that involves like a nice, balmy summertime pool party. I'm thinking there's some co-beers that are exploding from the heat. I'm thinking there's some hot dogs and wieners that are on fire. And maybe old Freddy Krueger himself shows up.
Oh, we're all
I'm
his
talking about the
children
party
now.
that it goes down in Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. What do you think about that party?
Man, it seemed okay up to a point. It never really kicked
To
off.
a point, yes.
It never really kicked off. I mean, it was. I'm just gonna assume if I'm at the party, I'm high school age, because otherwise, I'm not gonna be at this party.
That's true. That's definitely true.
So I'm at this party. I'm high school age. I mean, they got some drinks. They got a pool. It's all right.
That's true. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not easy to come by a co-beer when you're still a high schooler.
Yeah. So yeah, it'd be pretty fun, I think. But I went to some way better parties in high school than that.
Okay.
Oh, and
all
also
right.
a burnt child molesting serial killer never showed up at any of those parties. That I remember.
Are you saying you don't like it when a burnt, formerly dead child molester killer comes to a party? Are you telling me that doesn't just kick it off?
Well, I mean, okay, it
That
does.
sounds judgmental.
It will in some way kick something off. For sure.
Whether it's something good or not.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go ahead and assume it's probably, there may be a fight at that party if that guy shows
There could
up.
be.
Yeah.
Well, what kind of rating are you going to give that shindig, Steve?
I'm going to say that's like a 3.
That's a 3 for you?
Did any of the kids die at the party?
I think there were some fatalities there.
There were
yeah.
a couple, right? So you may get away with it. So I'm going to say a 3. Because,
Man,
it
I'll
was a
tell you
good
what,
time
though.
up to that point.
That's true. But you know what? We all got to die of something, Steve.
That's true.
Well, hell, we's all got to die of something. At least if you went to that party, you could kick it off, have some co-beers. You could have yourself a little keto snack. Just grab a dog with no bun on it.
There
Come
you go.
on.
A
Something
dog
for
with no
everybody.
bun. That's true.
Hang out with your friends out there in the swimming pool. Just cool off a little bit before, the Dream Master comes and murders you, I guess.
Maybe you duck out early. Like you
That's what I'm
meet
saying. You
somebody
could
at the
always leave
party
early.
and you're like, "Hey, you want to take this somewhere else?" Like,
Yeah, before, the burnt child molester shows up.
because I hear there's a burnt child molester involved. I don't know what's up. I just think maybe if we get out of here,
I looked at the guest list. He was on it. No longer interested,
I
so
think we might want to go.
I'm going to give that thing probably a solid 6.5 out of 10. I think that sounds like I could
Wow,
have a
alright.
good time and probably cut out early. That's my kind of scene. Some
Okay,
pyrotechnics.
I see.
Come on, who
I
doesn't love
see.
that?
Being able to cut out early is a positive. You're right there.
That's right, man. Now, what do you think about whenever I say that it's a great party, isn't it? What do you know about a bunch of millionaires and luminaries and stuff
Yeah.
hanging out up at the Overlook for a New Year's ball?
I mean, it looked like a fucking gas up to a point, right?
Sure did. Flapper ladies all around. People drinking
that's
avocats
cool.
and stuff.
Yeah, that's always cool. I mean,
until you get that drink spilled on your jacket, it does tend to stain, sir.
It does tend to stain, sir. That's true. I mean, the music, like everything that was going on, I feel like, it seemed like if you were to want to have sex with a man in a bear suit, you could, or dog suit.
That's available.
Not sure which one it is.
It's true. Definitely some sort of animal suit.
Yeah, that's a possibility. I'm sure. I mean, that's fun, and it had a well-stocked bar. Now that is gonna up it for me because
that's true. And the best bartender.
Some cheap swill beer at a high school party. It's improved by the pool for sure, but I think the atmosphere, the good drinks. And, maybe end up in bed with a flapper lady in a bear costume.
What's to lose?
What's to lose? So,
I think you're right. That sounds like a pretty damn good party. Where are you going to rate that thing?
For me, this is a 6.5. I mean, sure, we're going to end up dead somehow. But it's all right. Whatever.
Yeah, because the memories that you'll make, you'll remember them 30 minutes later when you're dying, whatever.
We get to hang out there for the rest of eternity, apparently, so that's fun. Right?
I could think of worse things to do. I'm getting pretty happy with staying home all the time, just kind of staying in one location. So I'm with you. I think that's going to be a strong 7 for me, Steve. It sounds like a damn good time.
Damn good time.
All right, see, what else we got on our list of hot horror parties?
Well, Ben, I mean, it's an exclusive party, but you could have gotten an invite to the Ready or Not wedding party.
Oh, man. They really, really do throw down very fucking hard. It all starts off feeling like fun and games.
Right.
And then it's until it's not.
Until it's not. Now, let's just say, for instance, you were one of the members of the family and, you had to try to murder someone.
Maybe you get to go people hunting a little bit.
I don't think that sounds fun.
Who's the person, though? Who's the person?
I mean, if it's Samara Weaving, I certainly don't want to kill her.
Yeah, that sounds like a bad thing.
Yeah. You make a good point. All right. Now, who is the person?
I could change things up right there.
Yeah. All right. Now I'm thinking about it differently.
I don't know, man. Like, it seems like a really weird, stressed out kind of family. You got a lot of family conflict and weird dynamics going on there. And the fun stops pretty fucking fast.
Yeah. But, I mean, if, for instance, because it seems to happen rarely, you just get a board game, I bet that tension all goes away and y'all just get drunk.
I'm telling you, we talked about that on a review episode.
Yeah.
Like, I want to know what those other games are like, man. I don't want to know what Operation is like. That one's probably not fun. What if the game that they chose is Risk, and they're like, this is going to take weeks? And for that reason right there, I'm going to give that party, that's about a 2.5 for me, Steve.
Okay. All right. I mean, yeah, I'm with you, because I don't really... The stuffy feel of that whole family just doesn't hit with me. I'm gonna say a 2.
Yeah,
I'd rather be at the high school party drinking some shit beer.
Me too, man. Well, you know what? Let's just do a little wild card action right here. Let me set the scene for you, Steve.
Okay.
Imagine you and several hundred of your fellow revolutionaries, and you guys are all underground in a secret lair in an underground city known as Zion.
Yeah.
You've got a mad rave happening. People are dancing. They're bumping and grinding. They're wrapped in saran wrap. They're doing all kinds of crazy stuff, listening to that techno music before the apocalypse begins. How do you feel about partying with Neo and crew down there in Zion in the Matrix?
Okay, so that doesn't look like the most fun place to be, but if the world were such that we were just being used as human batteries, I would rather be at the Raven Zion than be being used as a human battery in a fake reality.
I mean, if you put it that way.
But I mean, I do get the allure of the fake reality. I mean, it's easier.
I know when I bite into that steak, it's going to be juicy and succulent, but it's not real.
Yeah, I'd much rather have the reality. And also, I mean, it is a party. So, you know, hopefully if it's a rave, I'm hoping there are mind-altering substances there. Otherwise, why are they listening to that music?
That's a really good point right there.
Not that I don't. I do love electronic music.
I do too. I do too, man.
Take a pot shot.
And, you know, I guess at the end of the day, it does beat staying in your pod and, you know, gorging yourself on tasty wheat again, right?
Tasty wheat.
Can we please do The Matrix on the show sometime?
Oh, absolutely. That is one that works as a horror movie for me. Like,
right?
That is horrific.
Yeah,
it's horrifying to imagine that's the world, and it fucked with my head a lot. Like, the Matrix and Fight Club came out around the same time, and I was obsessed with those two movies.
Yep, totally, man. Yeah, I think, you know, given the circumstances, you know, if I was living here in this destroyed Earth, the scorched Earth world of The Matrix, that party would probably be about the most fun you could have, and it'd probably land itself at about a solid 8 or so.
Oh, wow, okay.
But for me right now in the real world...
Right, in the real world, that's what I was thinking.
If that's what I'm living in anyway.
Right. Mm-hmm.
The thought of leaving my home right now to go and just be ground upon by hundreds of sweaty people in a room, that does not sound like a good time to me, Steve. That's going to land itself at about a 1 right now. I have no interest in doing that. Dude, the fucking nightclubs and stuff down here have been jam-packed. And, hey, I wonder if that has anything to do with the fact that we just had our second highest day ever. The second... Well, hell, yesterday was a record. Today was a new record. I don't know how you'd say that.
We're setting new records every day. Huh?
We're winning, dude. We're winning.
We're winning. So much winning. So I've been to a number of raves, and if I were back in my 20s, I would love to be at that rave. But now, no allure, none whatsoever.
No allure.
Nope. I would say a 1. I say that's about right.
Not my vibe. Loud music, tons of germs.
Nope.
Ugh. That's a hard pass. Now, what would you think about meeting up with a bunch of people in a really high-class apartment building to celebrate the secret conspiracy birth of the Antichrist, of the devil's child? Do you want to party with those people in Rosemary's Baby? Do they know how to party or what?
They know how to throw a certain party, for sure.
It is a certain type of party, yeah.
It didn't look like it was really, like, off the chain or anything. I mean...
It looked pretty well behaved, yeah.
There's a baby there. Like, that tends to make a party less fun.
You got to keep it down.
Yeah. Well, actually, you know what? I just thought about it. Babies don't always make a party less fun.
I mean, I know a lot of people that just put their baby to bed and just continue raging.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. But sometimes a baby's like, oh, it's cute. It's a baby. And then it's like, well, yeah, hopefully the baby goes to sleep because, like, we're going to rage.
We got to rave till dawn. I mean, those people are all hopped up on Tannis root. They're wearing their Sunday best. They're wondering what's wrong with the eyes of the baby and stuff.
What's wrong with its eyes?
It's an older crowd. I think I'd feel pretty out of place right there. I'm still a young, spry man.
Yeah, I don't want to hang out with these old folk.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I bet they'd be drinking just some really lame drinks. They'd be having themselves
a Gibson.
Probably like a Tom Collins.
I'd have a Tom Collins.
Tom Collins are pretty good. Yeah,
that sounds good.
I was about to say an old fashioned, and I was like, I love old fashioned.
I'd have an old fashioned as well. Yeah.
Okay, so the drinks would be good. Fine. The drinks would be
probably
amazing.
Be pretty tight.
Yeah, but the company, less so.
Less so. Yeah.
But I would love to see the Devil's Child. So that
just
does
to
add
get a glimpse of the Devil's
intrigue.
Child. That sounds
If
fun.
I could stay and enjoy a nice old-fashioned cocktail, see the Devil's Baby, and then leave, I'm going to call that a 6.
I mean, that's how I would advertise that, by the way, if I had the Devil's Baby and I were, say, showing it from town to town.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Come have a drink, see the Devil's Baby, and leave.
Yeah, who wouldn't go to that? Come on.
I mean, yeah, okay. I mean, again, yeah, if we're just dropping in, you do get the experience of one, finding out the devil is real, so that's crazy. Two,
they're all super rich, so you know the bar is
child.
stocked with high quality stuff too.
Yeah,
you know
so,
those aren't well
You're
drinks.
gonna get a quality. You're gonna get a quality cocktail for sure. Yeah, you're right. I'm gonna say it's probably about a 4.5.
All right, that sounds pretty good enough. Now, would you be more interested in maybe going to an eclipse viewing party while maybe a young babysitter doesn't know that she's babysitting your elderly mom up there in the attic in your big old creepy house? What do you think about a House of the Devil style eclipse party? Does that sound like a good time? You want to check that out? Sounds like a late nighter.
A pretty exclusive group, but if you can get the invite, it's a wild show.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Plus, there's pizza, so that's good. I don't know. I mean, I'm not interested in sacrificing a virgin, so that's gonna be a damper on the mood, I think. But the pizza.
The pizza.
I mean, you gotta consider the pizza.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's got its pluses, it's got its minuses.
Yeah, and you've got a dead family and a pentagram behind a locked door. Always a fun hit at a party.
So, yeah. I mean, it's got its pluses. I said so. But, but I don't know. I think for me, I do think that virgin sacrifice... Is she even a virgin? Is that a thing they mentioned in that, by the way? I think they just sacrifice her, right?
Yeah. Well, they kind of like, you know, impregnate her with the devil's child.
Right, with the devil's child, right, yeah. Who, you know, would be cool to see, but seeing the, like, moment of impregnation, not so fun.
I mean, if she's not into it, if there's consent involved.
Right, oh, sure. Would I love to see a consensual sex between the devil and a human woman? Absolutely. That's not up for debate. But non-consensual, yeah, that's gonna be a 0 for me, I think.
That's out, huh? That's a no-go.
Once that's part of it, not interested.
I don't know, dude. If I could steal her cassette tape and blast "One Thing Leads to Another" by The Fix on the radio, if I could eat a slice of pizza, hang out with Jocelyn Donahue,
right,
in her high-waisted jeans,
right,
then see an eclipse and duck out before anything got too freaky weird.
I mean,
I don't know. Sounds pretty good.
I
just don't wake grandma.
I mean, Greta Gerwig tried that and it didn't work out for her. So
that's true.
Yeah.
There's that weird son guy that's kind of
really
killing the vibe, isn't he?
I mean, and also like, I mean, if it's the two of us at a party and it's Jocelyn Donahue and then Greta Gerwig leaves, it's like, well, I mean, sausage party, you know?
Yeah, we're out of here, right? Yeah, that's true. Yeah, if I can do that stuff, I'm gonna call that worth it. I'm gonna give that a 4.
Okay. All right.
You know what? Those ghoulies had a pretty good party in their time.
They had a bash.
That was a bash right there, wasn't it?
Well, see, here's the thing. The ghoulies party, the ghoulies aren't much of a threat at first. And they're really, like, not the problem. It's more of the witchery going on in the basement.
There's some legitimate satanic witchery happening downstairs. Yeah.
But the party itself is full of some, 80s dressed kids who seem to be having a good time.
Yeah.
So that's fine. And it's a cool house.
So it sounds like a winner to me is what you're saying.
I mean, you do have ghoulies to contend with.
All right, there are some little ghoulies running around. That's true.
You don't want to get near a toilet, probably.
No.
Yeah, that's a bad idea. But, I mean, again, if you go by the philosophy of just ducking in, seeing what's up with the party, and ducking out, going somewhere else, maybe. I don't know.
Go see a ghoulie.
Maybe you see a ghoulie before you leave. Like, oh, that was crazy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, maybe they're like little party gifts and you get to take one home.
All right, yeah. Okay.
On your way out, grab you a ghoulie, take him home. He's yours now.
Take home a ghoulie.
I choose you, Ghoulie Chew.
If you get a ghoulie, then for me that's like a 5.
Now we're talking.
Yeah,
that's
you do
right.
a little
I'm
80s
right there
dance, you get a ghoulie, off you go.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna go with you there on about a 5. That's what I would go for as well. I want to see the ghoulie. I want to take one of those little fuckers home, train them to do little tricks, train them to get the paper, give me a cold beer from the fridge, and stay out the commode.
Ben, I have one for you that is a surprise witness. I call a surprise witness.
Uh-oh, look out.
Ben, the party in society.
Oh, man. You want to go and get shunted, do you?
Yeah, do you want to get shunted?
Woo. Oh, ooh, man.
I'm up all night to get shunty.
That's going to be an extremely hard pass for me. I have seen Society. I know that everybody in this hellish dream world that guy created they're all weird as fuck. Everybody in that movie is shady and strange as fuck. And then they have this weird party where they all get together and like merge skin and they fuck and lick each other and all kinds of nasty stuff is going on. I couldn't be less interested in that other than if they were also playing Wagon Wheel in the background. That's the only way it could make it worse. That's a 0 for me, Steve.
Well,
I ain't going to that party.
Me, mama, like a wagon wheel. Shunt me, mama, like a wagon wheel.
Shunt me like a wagon wheel. The thrill of the hunt. And what does he say? The taste of the shunt or something like that.
Yeah, for me, there's no interest in going to the party,
no
but except for the little bit of me that's like, what does that feel like, being shunted?
I mean, maybe you want to know. Maybe you want to find out,
cool?
I guess.
I mean, what if it's awesome? What if it's like infinitely coming?
I don't know if it's worth it.
Yeah.
There's some gross people there, man.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. You're right. 0.
Pass.
All
Party
right.
pass.
Ben, how about, and this is, I didn't think about this party scene until a little bit before we started recording, but Dazed and Confused.
Oh.
The party at the end.
I mean, seems like a pretty fucking raging party to me.
I mean, I feel like I've been to that party a bunch. Like,
yeah,
that's a pretty common party in the South in high school.
Seems that way.
Yeah,
these are all common sights to see down in this part of the country for sure.
So for me, that like it has a nostalgia feel. Now, of course, I'd have to be in high school. I'm no Wooderson. I get older, and they also get older, and that's how that works.
And that's how that works.
Yeah.
That's a good update to that
all
line.
right. Question mark?
No, I think the new line would be consent.
Yeah, we don't want to Chris D'Elia this or Jeffrey Rossett and
oh no.
Yeah. Gross.
Yeah, that's true. I would go to that party if I was in the right age demographic, but right now as a near 36-year-old human being, I would not want to go to that party. Yeah. It would be really weird. But we'll talk about that when we get to the movie, too. Nobody likes that person that shows up that's way older than everybody.
Nobody.
It freaks everybody out.
Yep, it's weird. Yeah. But, if I were a teenager again or like 20 years old, that'd be fun. It'd be fun to have...
I'd be totally down with that.
I think, it has all the hallmarks of a Southern party. You got a bunch of different groups of people hanging out. You got some people smoking weed, other people just chilling, hanging beer, other people doing crazy shit like climbing towers. And then, of course, there's a fight. Yeah,
classic. Yeah, I'm going to say that one for me, if I was of that age, that's going to be about a 9er. That's going to be a fun
that's
time.
What I was thinking. That's a real fun, especially in the summer. Yeah. Gosh, when it would just be nice outside and there's like, lightning bugs.
Cold beer code.
Yeah. Somebody burning hamburgers.
Yeah. But, now if I showed up to that thing, it would be a total buzzkill. The best thing I could do at a party like that at my age is show up and be like, does anybody need a ride home? I'll give somebody a ride so they don't have to drive.
Just here to be supportive.
Yeah, exactly.
But then that also seems like a serial killer move.
That kind of does, too. Yeah, so
just stay
away. If it's
away.
me now, that's going to be like a 1.
Yeah. Like if I guess maybe if like they asked me to chaperone for some reason, like okay.
God, wouldn't that make you feel so fucking lame though?
Yes, very. That's why it's a 1.
Yeah. I think you're right, man.
But maybe you get stoned while you're there, so that's fun.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe that could happen. That's a little silver lining. Now, like, the one movie party that is definitely a 10 for me is the entire movie of Can't Hardly Wait. Of course I'd want to go to that party.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to be in the 90s. I want to hang out with all these 90s people and Seth Green and Jennifer Love Hewitt. Everybody. I want to listen to Third Eye Blind and Smash Mouth.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, count me in. That's a 10.
Again, I've been to that high school party as well. And yeah, those are fun. They're really fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be a blast. I'd have a good time if I were a teenager. If I were an adult, the only reason I would be there would be to say, can you keep it down? I want you to have fun, but I got shit to do.
Yeah, really.
I'm not calling the cops. I'm not an asshole.
Yeah. Just here to try to keep a little order going on.
That's it.
You young people enjoy your night.
So yeah, but that would be a blast. That's a 9 for sure.
Would you find yourself at a party with a bunch of vampires under a blood-soaked sprinkler system rave party? Would you do that?
In Blade?
Of course I'm talking about Blade.
Okay, so the idea of being a vampire doesn't sound awesome, but
no.
If I were just a vampire, that party looked cool.
It's true.
I mean,
the eats are good, the company's great.
So, like, if I were a vampire, I bet that'd be fucking popping off. I would love to be at that Blade party. As a
regular human being,
I would just be there to ask him to keep it down. You know, I'm not gonna call the cops or anything, but guys, like, I got stuff to do tomorrow.
That's a good point. That's a really, really good point right there. Yeah, I'm not really gonna be interested in going to that one unless I'm a vampire. If I'm a human being, that's a 0. I ain't going getting coated in no blood.
Yeah, am vampire 10.
10 for sure. It's a dime, easy. All right, Steve, we got any more parties to knock this thing out with here?
One last party, Ben.
Last one.
One last one.
Okay.
Ben, how interested would you be in going to the party in Requiem for a Dream where Jennifer Connelly does ass to ass?
Do I get to hang out with Keith David?
Yes, you do get to hang out with Keith David, as well as a whole lot of old men with oxygen tanks and shit.
And they're tapping their canes on the floor?
They're tapping their canes on the floor.
Listen, I love Jennifer Connelly. I'd love to meet Keith David.
Right.
I'd stick out like a sore thumb. I don't know if I'd be welcome at that place right there. And plus, I know why Connelly's there doing ass to ass.
Yeah.
And it's not something I want to encourage or contribute to, I don't think.
No, I'm not going to this party. This is bad party.
I mean, a little ass to ass, a little Keith David, of course. Who doesn't love those things?
Consensual ass to nobody's debating whether consensual ass to ass in front of a crowd of people is fun. We all think that's a blast.
Of course.
But of course, when it's about drug money, it
gets a little darker. It definitely makes everything a lot less fun, and it's something that I don't think that we should contribute to. So, yeah, as much as I'd love to meet Keith David,
let's not contribute.
Yeah, let's just not.
Yeah,
that's probably going to land itself at about I'm going to say it's about a 1 for me. I'm not going to say absolute 0.
Because of the meeting Keith David part.
Because of the meeting Keith David part.
No, if you met Keith David and found out, of course, that he's making Jennifer Connelly do ass to ass for drug money, wouldn't it make it less of an interesting meeting?
That's true.
I'd rather not find that out. I'd rather, you know what? I want him to just be Keith David.
Long, tall Sally. Have me some fun. Have me some fun. I'd just get him to do those lines, then I'd leave.
That would be it.
Yeah. I'd be like, that's enough. Where are you rating that thing?
Me, man, that's a half. It's a half point. Half a point.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, you guys be sure to let us know what horror or other just movie parties you would like to attend or maybe not like to attend, like a Texas Chainsaw dinner party. Count me out. It's too hot in there. It's stuffy.
Yeah.
And it smells really bad. Let us know about those over on the Facebook group, which you guys can find at facebook.com/Dead
and Lovely.
That's right. Tag team. We did it.
Tag team. Back again.
Join that thing up. Have some fun. Talk with all the cool kids. All right, Steve, we are here not just to bullshit around and talk about what we've been watching and what ass-to-ass parties we'd like to go to. We're talking about The Invitation from 2015, which is a movie.
Oh, I just realized, like, somebody is like, oh, I love The Invitation. And I've listened to other episodes of Dead and Lovely where they've given a good academic breakdown. I'll check it out. Ass to ass.
It seems like they're talking about ass to ass a lot in this episode. Oh, I don't know about this. I didn't sign up for this. Patreon canceled. Now, Steve, was this the first time that you've seen this talkie?
No, I saw
I thought you mentioned it before. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw it was on Netflix way back in the day, and saw that it was Karyn Kusama, and I like Karyn Kusama because she directed Jennifer's Body, and I love Jennifer's Body. So check this out. It was way different, but also I was like, okay, I'm into it. Emily and I watched it together. It's just one of those, slow burn type of things where the whole time when you're watching it the first time, you're just being drug along with it, and you're getting the emotions, the anxiety and the anger and all this stuff. And by the time you're done with it, you're like, oh, okay. Like,
so that's where that went.
All right then. But it was one that I hadn't thought of going back to because of how I would say like taxing it is emotionally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not exactly one of those like riotous fun time watches. Right. You're just like, I can't wait to watch this again.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So confession time. I thought I had seen this movie before.
Yeah.
I had not seen this movie before because this thing, like, it kind of just lives on Netflix. It's one of those ones that, like, as long as Netflix has been
and they're
streaming,
always recommending it.
Yeah, you can always stream through scroll through the horror section, and this movie is kind of always there. And I had confused it with You're Next.
Oh, okay. I like that
Which
movie.
Is another movie that kind of has like a meeting of friends and it turns murderous and stuff.
Yeah, it's similar to Ready or Not in ways, but
in a way,
much different in other ways. But yeah, I like Your Next, but completely different tones, I would say.
Very different kind of vibe and tone. Because like to me, I remember watching You're Next, and I was like, The Invitation. Yeah, that was like kind of fun. It wasn't all that great, but it was at least entertaining to watch or whatever. We started this, and I was like, oh, I've absolutely never seen this movie.
Completely different movie, yeah.
Yeah, it turns out that last night was my first time watching this thing. Yeah, so it was kind of different than I was expecting.
I bet.
Spoiler time, Steve. I've not mentioned this yet to you.
Yeah.
I didn't really like this movie much at all.
Okay.
So there, duke it out with me.
Okay. We'll get into it. We'll get into the things you don't like about it. But it seems to be from what I've seen on our Facebook group and stuff, because many people have posted about it, seems to be a little love it or leave it.
Yeah, we've had a lot of people request that we do this movie.
Yeah.
Like, since the podcast started, we've had a lot of people being like, could you please do The Invitation? It's one of my favorites. It seems to be a movie that a lot of people really, really dig. And I can get it. Like, I can understand the appeal and what people like about it. I just kind of feel like everything that this movie has done, I can get it from some other movie and get it 20 times better.
Okay.
Like, this is almost one of those episodes where we could have done a watch that, not this segment. Because I'm like, if you want secret cults, watch Kill List. If you want grief, watch Hereditary.
Right.
It's like they're just kind of a long list of things that this movie does that other flicks, I think, do a lot better, frankly.
Okay.
But it's like you said, I went into it with high hopes because I love the director, and if you listen to our Jennifer's Body episode, I think that's actually like one of our best episodes that we've done on the show.
Yeah, for sure.
And there's a lot of great stuff in there. And, she was a part of Triple X as well. Or was it XX? Yeah, it was just called XX.
XX, yeah. She did the segment with the devil son where the mother had been clipping his horns and stuff, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was really, really weird. What other flicks has she done?
She directed Eon Flux back in the day.
I never saw that. I heard... Wait, like the cartoon show or the movie?
Well, the movie with Charlize Theron.
Oh, was it any good? I never saw that.
I saw it back in the day. I also saw the cartoon back in the day. I can't tell you anything either one of them is about. I never got it. I never understood it, but I liked them both visually. So
okay,
it looks great, and Charlize Theron's awesome in it. I'll have to watch it again, but it didn't make a big impression on me.
Okay, right on.
Also is slated to direct the upcoming Dracula picture. Because of the success of Invisible Woman, they want to try to do these lower budget Universal monster type of movies instead of making an attempt at making the Universal Monsters Avengers with Tom Cruise.
Are you telling me we're rebooting the Universal Monsters thing
The
again?
Universal the Tom Cruise one was a reboot of one that was happening as like just years before. Do you remember Dracula Untold and the Wolfman with like Benicio del Toro that was supposed to happen or whatever?
I heard both of those were really bad.
Yep, those were all supposed to be the start of these Universal Monster reboots. And I have talked about the Universal Monsters ad nauseum. The past 2 episodes of Legacy of Brutality, they have never given up on them. They've never given up on them.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, though, is like they have to understand that those things were so magical, important, not because they were the greatest movies ever made. It's because of the fucking time and context.
Yeah.
Like, if you were alive in that time period and you saw a Creature from the Black Lagoon, you'd never fucking seen anything like that.
Well, no, Creature from the Black Lagoon came out in 1954.
54,
yeah. Say Frankenstein, that well, though it is similar to Golem.
All right, fine.
All right, but yeah, like it had more relevance then because also they couldn't do a lot of stuff because of the censor boards through the 40s. So a lot of that was just relying on familiarity, and then also in the 90s though. I would say that Mary Shelley's Frankenstein and Bram Stoker's Dracula are the 2 best adaptations of the novels.
Absolutely.
So I haven't seen that Invisible Man movie yet, so I'll reserve judgment. I'm cool with them continually playing with the properties. I just don't understand what they were trying to do with the Tom Cruise thing.
No,
because that was just a poor plan from the beginning.
I think so. I'll tell you, dude, the reboot that we really need, the remake, the modern adaptation that everybody's clamoring for, that we need to see made into a huge budget mega motion picture.
Okay.
We need to see The Great Train Crash.
Boom!
It's like it's coming out of the screen. Could you imagine, though, like a fucking Michael Bay readaptation of that shit? How fucking stupid that would be.
The Kiss. Just a couple kissing. That's it.
Wow.
There you go. Garden party. Just some people in a garden. All right.
So you're saying that Kusama here is getting in and she's going to be doing a Dracula. I wonder how it's going to be different than any other Dracul movie that we've been handed.
I mean, judging from what we see with The Invitation and XX, I mean, the tone of Jennifer's body could probably be attributed not mostly, but in a lot of ways to Diablo Cody, because it has a Diablo Cody feel to it.
Very much.
But the way that she shoots things and the stuff she seems to emphasize, I think would work well with a vampire movie. So I think it could be good. It'll probably be, Bram Stoker's Dracula does this. The first Dracula does this, where it's just kind of, the romance of the idea of Dracula is kind of pushed,
Yeah.
So I could see that being maybe pushed a bit. The Stark figure and in a slow developing sort of tone would be exactly in line with the novel. So I think she could do it.
Well, and especially too, if she makes Jonathan Harker less of the lead and makes Mia more of the lead, I think that could be really interesting in terms of her experience in dealing with the reliable, predictable life mate in the form of Harker versus the dark and mysterious, sexy vampire temptation of Dracula. Like, if they kind of analyze the, I think, female perspective on the entire story, I think that could actually be something
that
new
is,
and something that we've not seen a million times already.
That is something, I mean, there's precedent for it because in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Mina is the, like,
I
very
said
strong.
Mina, yeah.
Mina, yeah, she's like a very strong, like, leader type character, so to see that would, I mean, because I would say Coppola kind of leaned toward that with Winona Ryder as Mina in Bram Stoker's Dracula. I think he gave her more of center stage, and Jonathan Harker was just kind of, wooden Keanu Reeves for some reason.
The Count, he has grown young.
Yeah, that's what he said. So yeah, I'll be interested to see what she does with it. She obviously is great at what she does. This movie, I like. I think what you're saying is probably accurate, that there are other movies that do some of these elements better, but it's, to me, like, those elements, not one of them sticks out as much as the state of Will. Like, I think the movie is us following Will, and so because you emphasize this one character, those other things are the things that are instigating his tension and anxiety and whatnot. I don't know, it's because, like, grief isn't at the center of it, but it is a theme.
Sure.
Anxiety is probably more of the central theme, because like, he is constantly anxious in this home due to his grief, due to circumstances with his wife. It looked like she tried to kill herself at one point.
Yeah, it's a little flashback there, probably after the death of their son.
Yeah, so, like, his son died there, his wife tried to kill herself there, and now things are getting even more uncomfortable. I think it's about his anxiety. The grief is part of that anxiety and secondary, though. So I don't know if it's too centered on any one of those things, like the cult-like aspects or whatever. Yeah. I think maybe it's not, like, groundbreaking. I mean, I can agree with you on that. It's not bringing anything new, but it is developing the tension and the, anxiety, and then delivers really well, I think, once the action gets going.
Which is like the last 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Of an hour and 40 long movie.
Yeah, it's such a slow development, and just so many small things adding up. But I think one, they do hit the action when Choi finally shows up. Like,
that's where there is a little bit of uncertainty as far as, like, oh, okay, so this guy is alive.
And that is where it sort of makes you think, like, oh, is this all in his head? Like, is he really? Because, like, it could end up just being a non-horror movie. Like, you could watch this movie and it end up being that it really is him dealing with his anxiety and his grief entirely, and nothing bad happens. It's just us feeling his anxiety along with him.
And just seeing things around every corner that seem significant and all that aren't really there. Yeah,
and then
that'd be a boring movie.
It'd be a boring movie. Yeah, it would. So the cult part, I mean, because it makes sense, because, like, his reaction to all this has been to try to, face reality, like, to face the fact, like, our son is dead. He's dead. Like, that's it. And her reaction has been to try to escape reality. So the cult is just an avenue to show that she's trying to escape reality. But then I think this all comes out in development, probably. It's probably just like they didn't necessarily start out thinking of a cult, maybe. They were like, what if you were at a dinner party and it got weird? Okay, well, why would it get weird? Maybe somebody's son died. Maybe somebody tries to get everybody to join a cult. Oh, that's crazy. Wait, maybe we do that. That's a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, to me, like with everything that you're just talking about, as far as kind of the central themes of the movie, to me, grief did stand out as the central theme in the movie, and how people choose to deal with it, the different avenues that you can go to. I mean, the ex-wife in the movie, Eden, she has resorted to this cult, this spirituality and lifestyle that allows her to let go of her negative emotions and stuff. Meanwhile, it seems like Will, our main character, has chosen to, like you said, directly confront everything. We're kind of given a couple of very head-on, on-the-nose, like explicit indications of that.
Yeah.
I mean, the opening scene of the movie where
it's him.
He accidentally runs over a coyote and then beats it to death with a tire iron.
Well, yeah, he puts it out of his misery. I mean, saying it that way makes it sound like he's just like, oh, I'm going to go beat that to death. He's putting it out of its misery, which is setting up, like, that idea, which is basically what the cult is about. We learn the cult is about putting each other out of our misery.
Yeah, it's just another method of dealing with grief. Right, yeah, just in a different way or with a different justification of it or whatever, right? Yeah. And we're given all kinds of other symbols of the way that Will and Eden have dealt with the grief over the loss of their of their baby boy. And again, I think some of them are pretty head on in terms of the fact that the guy that Eden has replaced Will with kind of looks like a different version of Will. It's a white guy with a similar haircut and a scruffy beard.
They do look very similar, yeah. It's Logan Marshall Green and Michael Huisman. Huisman, yeah, the guy from the House on Haunted Hill.
That's what he's in.
Yeah, and Logan Marshall Green played Shocker #1 in Spider-Man: Homecoming. He's the Shocker that gets killed, and then Bokeem Woodbine takes over.
Shit!
And he also looks like Tom Hardy.
Yeah, he does, right? I thought he kind of looked like...
What if Tom Hardy walked in while those two dudes were standing next to each other? It would just be like, which one do I shoot?
I thought that he kind of looked like, honestly, kind of any modern country singer that took a bath. But then, you've got Will, who has chosen to, connect with Kira, I think is her name?
Yeah, Kira.
Who looks a lot different than Eden and is obviously a very different kind of personality.
Yeah, he's moving on with his life. Yeah, that is exactly what you're right. Yeah, they're showing like Eden is trying to stay in one moment while saying she's moving on. He's actually trying to move on. And that's why this is such an anxiety producing moment for him, is going back to something that he's moved on from.
Yeah. And that's too, why Eden is still living in the house.
Yeah,
where they had their marriage and where she tried to kill herself and where the son died and stuff. She's still kind of there swimming around in that grief and in those memories and stuff, and he's clearly tried to move on. I don't think that there's a very explicit message of what is the better way to deal with grief and guilt. I don't think they're really trying to say one is right.
I'm pretty sure there is. Doesn't she join a cult that tries to kill all the people?
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
He's
well, that's
just
fair.
a normal old
and
guy.
He doesn't.
Yeah, I think there's a pretty strong message there that you got to move on from your grief and that
not let it define you.
Yeah, letting it define you and sticking in it is essentially death itself, and you suck away the souls of the people around you when you refuse to move on from things.
Right. Yeah, and it's kind of revealed too that this cult, the invitation that everything is kind of based around in this flick, it seems to attract other people who have gone through very hard times in their life or experienced some kind of loss, which is very, very, very true and very typical of cults. They tend to play upon vulnerable. That's a hard word to say right
sometimes,
now.
right? Yeah.
Vulnerable people who have, had some sort of damage in their life. That is definitely the type of people that cults prey on and religions prey on of all kind. Fine line between religion and cult, by the way.
I don't think there is a line, honestly. It's just that one is more open about the exploitation.
Yeah, right. It's like, I think after you reach a certain number of followers, or maybe you've been around for a certain number of years, it's considered a religion. I mean, Scientology is considered a religion now. Yeah. It's a cult, y'all. It's a fucking cult.
Oh, absolutely. No, I mean, who is considering it a religion other than technically the IRS? But
yeah, no shit. And Tom Cruise, I guess.
Man, It seems pretty easy to push the government around if you're white, right? Remember those dudes that just took over that national park or whatever?
Oh, yeah, they did that with their whiteness.
And then it was just like, oh, okay, that's fine. So, see you guys. That's crazy. What the fuck? Anyway, yeah. Wow, that just blew my mind.
So we've got this cult that has taken in all these people that are dealing with grief and stuff, and we kind of find that out, over the course of the movie through the very, very many monologues that are in here. I feel like at times this movie is just like Will has a one-on-one conversation with someone who delivers a monologue,
right? And
then he separates and has another conversation with another person, one-on-one in a different location, which is followed by him having another conversation one-on-one with somebody who's at the party. It's just like, fuck, man. Okay, like, is there no cleaner way to develop exposition and characters in this?
There probably would be a way to do it a little differently, I would think. It just seems, though, that the focus is trying to keep us on Will. So it's almost like all the other stuff that would be going on as exposition to develop all the other characters is going on. We just don't see it. All we see is Will.
Yeah, everything's kind of sticking on his perspective, right?
Yeah, but you're right. No, nobody else gets developed too much except for David and Eden. And, we don't learn much about Kira except she's obviously a great girlfriend who's like trying her damnedest. And
boy, howdy, she has the patience of a fucking saint. I'll tell you that. Good Lord, man.
And also murders a man. So she's a badass.
She is a badass, man.
Yeah. I mean, everybody else, there's not a whole lot. What do we got? Gina, she likes cocaine. We learned that. Miguel and Tommy are in a relationship. That's all we know.
That's kind of all.
Ben and his wife don't like each other. Sadie is the cult girl. We learn a good bit about how crazy Sadie is, I think.
Yeah, pretty much. And even like with that character of Ben that you were talking about a second ago, we learn his connection to Will through that extremely fucking lazy exposition. Whenever Will and Kira arrive to the party and he's like making introductions, he's like, hey, I'm Ben. You remember the guy that you tried to start a business with that went down the tubes years ago?
Yeah, that was
like,
bad.
God damn, really? That's the best way you could fucking insert that character detail? Really?
Pruitt also gets developed a good bit.
Yeah, the token guy that shows up at a party that's older than everybody that makes everyone uncomfortable. We already talked about this. Don't be that person. If there's a party where you're like everyone's senior by like 15 years, don't go.
If your neighbor invites you to a party, maybe they're just being nice. If you show up and everybody there is way younger than you, maybe it's time to just be like, I just wanted to come say hi and head back home.
Not trying to sound all ageist or anything, but I have been on both sides of that. I've been the young person that's at a party and an old person shows up and you get weirded out. I've also been the old guy that shows up and I'm like, I don't belong here. I'll be seeing you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Don't be that person. Don't be Pruitt.
I think the people who are developed the most are the cult and David. That's it. Or not David. Will. That's it. Everybody else doesn't have. Choi has zero personality because
none.
He doesn't
He's the guy
show up
that's
until
not
near
there.
the end, and then doesn't really say much.
Yeah, and then gets kind of Scatman, and that's just sort of the whole thing with his character. Like he never really goes anywhere. He's kind of there as sort of like a really limp red herring, I guess.
Yeah. But it worked. I mean, you can't call it limp when it does work. It does make you think like, okay, I'm on his side when he starts being like, no, this is bullshit. Where's Choi? Because Choi did send him a message saying like, I'm here. And it does work with you. It does make you think like, oh, fuck, they killed Choi? What's going on? And then when Choi shows up, it's like, wait, what the fuck?
To me, it wasn't really a red herring. To me, like all along this entire movie, I just kind of knew what was going to happen. Okay. I was like, this is going to turn into a fucking death cult suicide scenario because there's just so many warning signs the whole time that I was never once like, maybe this is all in Will's head and he's just looking into things too much, and these are all kind and gentle souls that want to help him move on. Like, never once did it strike me that way.
Huh.
And, I mean, like I said, I knew nothing about this movie going into it, so it's not like, oh, the ending had been spoiled for me or whatever.
Right.
Like, no, I just didn't really ever get the feeling that stuff wasn't going to come off the rails. So even when Troy showed back up, I was just like, oh, well, what the fuck ever. Things are still going to go downhill.
I mean, I guess we know that for sure because it's a horror movie, but that's the entire genre. Like, how could it be different? Like,
yeah, I mean, it could turn into something way different where he ends up being like, I'm gonna kill all you before you kill me.
Right.
It turns into a bloodbath, and then it turns out he was wrong. Like, but that would be a horrible movie.
I'm all right.
Or would it?
I think at the base you're rejecting the premise of the movie. So like it's like if you don't like the premise, it's not gonna
I
work.
might be a redneck.
No, I mean it's not gonna work. It's just not gonna work if you don't like the premise. So you're right. Like the bits that you say are negative are true. And if you don't buy into the premise, if the Choi moment doesn't hit you at all, it really is just okay, we know this is gonna happen. We know where this is headed. So I can see that.
I mean, even though it's kind of unfair to, like, you know, nickel and dime it and really compare it to a movie like Hereditary, it's like even in
a movie
came
like
out Hereditary. Oh yeah. But I'm just saying, like, in that flick, there was multiple moments where I was like, maybe this is all in her head, you know, because she has this history of mental illness in her family and this huge amount of grief in her life and stuff. There was multiple times in that flick where I'm going, maybe it's all in her head,
right?
You know,
I think the fewer number of characters makes that work better. I do think this suffers from having too many characters.
You know what? It does kind of have a lot of people that show up that never really get developed that much. Like
Claire.
I never really got a lot of I never really got a lot of personality out of any of these characters, even though all they do for like the first 80 minutes of the movie is stand around and talk to each other.
Right.
I still don't really get personality out of any of them.
Yeah. I think you're right. Yeah, you're right. If I mean, honestly, if you cut, because it would be more menacing if, say, it was just Will and Kira and another couple, and then Eden, David, Sadie, and Pruitt. It's far more menacing when it's 4 on 4.
Yeah, exactly.
Because at so many points, I mean, like, at so many points, I was thinking, like, if I were in this is not how I would act. I would leave far ahead of any of this.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you want to watch a snuff film before dinner? I'm the fuck out.
I do understand the connections and the difficulties of leaving in this situation, but with the things that occur, I would have gone long before this all started.
Dude, let me ask you this though, man. If you were taking your new girlfriend to meet your ex-wife in the house that you used to live in, that your kid died in, and stuff started getting kind of weird right away, wouldn't you at least like spare her and be like, I want to get you the fuck out of here because this shit's way weird. Like,
absolutely would not.
Why would you put that?
I wouldn't make my wife deal with that.
That's what I'm saying.
No. I would not make anybody, no matter how long I'd known them. I would not make. I would immediately just be like, "Let's go. We're out. This is ridiculous. I'm not hanging out." I'm not hanging out with a fucking cult. What the fuck? God damn it. I mean, he says this shit pretty much. Like, the moments where he really says what I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, that's why I'm with Will. But what's with everybody else?
I don't get it. Yeah, like, there's so many points in here that, again, are just giant red flags where you're like, why the fuck aren't you cutting out? Dude, like, everybody's, like, hanging out, and I think dude's, like, giving that speech and stuff like this, and you look down the hallway and you see Sadie there poo bearing it in the hallway.
Okay,
you're like,
I mean,
who is this now?
Right.
Why wouldn't I leave right now?
I was like, all right, what's up, Lindsay Burge? I'm down. Sadie,
who is that?
Lindsay Burge. She's in another movie that I have mentioned before, but is I mean, not anything you maybe have seen, but Lindsay Bird was in a movie called The Midnight Swim that I really enjoyed.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know anything else that she was in. It didn't seem familiar to me, but she looks familiar.
Well, she's got that classic Pooh Bear vibe the first time that we meet her.
Yeah, which, I mean, she won
We've
me
talked
over
about it before.
immediately.
We're a sucker for Pooh Bearing.
And then she was crazy and super sexual, and I was like, all right, yeah, okay.
I'm listening.
What's up, Sadie? What's going on?
But then, when you've got this weird guy, Pruitt, that shows up and then tells you this story about how he fucking beat his wife to death in a drunken rage, I'd leave.
Yes, even if I had made it to that point, that's the end. That's it.
And I'll be leaving
You're
now.
telling me this big,
you.
intimidating guy who's here in this very strange situation that we don't know murdered his wife, and all the doors are locked.
Yeah, and
I'm
also
going.
There's plenty of booze and stuff around, and this guy is a murderous alcoholic. Maybe it's time to cut out, I think.
I mean,
I don't know,
get that it was manslaughter, but like, I just like that. The vibe of him when he's telling the story is just like so cold.
Yeah.
If I were to, first off, would never hit my wife. If I were to accidentally push my wife over in some freak accident and she were to die, I would never, ever forget about it. I would be devastated the rest of my life.
Sure.
So if I were to be as ridiculous as to punch my wife and it killed her, I don't know how you recover from that and then tell an entire group of people the story.
Including mainly strangers.
Yeah, I'm out. I don't want to hear it. Like, that's
right.
So many instances where I would just be out. Bye. We're no longer friends. Fuck you.
Well, and then too, like when you see that they're locking the doors and there's fucking bars on the windows and stuff. Come on, man. Like
No.
15 minutes into this movie, I was like, and I'd leave here, and I'd be leaving now, and now I'd be leaving.
Okay, so that's why Claire makes some sense. Maybe you have two couples other than the four cult members, and you have Claire. Claire leaves. Apparently, in a deleted scene, she gets killed. I assumed that she got killed, but
it never really shows us. Like I was thinking earlier today, I was like, well, at least she got away alive, but I guess she didn't. I wonder why they deleted that.
I get not showing it. Otherwise, there's really no like questioning whether or not this is a cult. And as I said, if you don't buy into that premise, it's not interesting in it. So if you show that early, it's like, oh, okay, well, I know what's happening.
The only way you could have done that and like had her die and had the reveal happen is if there was a Halloween style scene where, as Will and Kira are trying to like escape the house, they find her corpse, out of her car,
right.
Or they've drugged the body back in.
Absolutely.
That's the only way to do it.
That could have worked 100%. That would have been cool.
But others are just kind of left with this dangling thing where we're like, oh, she left, so she got away. Cool.
Yeah. So, I think you cut down the number of people, and then beyond that, you need more people being like, this is weird. Like, because they would be. Like, it is weird.
You need that fuck politeness credo.
You do. You need the old, my favorite murder, fuck politeness credo. Yeah, if you're a woman out there and there's a guy like, oh, I lost my puppy, can you help me find him over here in the woods where no one can see you? No, fuck you. I cannot help you. I cannot help you. And
politeness
even for
has cost
men,
people their lives.
Yeah, even for men, remember, don't like, and this I think happens to men where they end up in these terrible situations with dudes that they don't trust already because they're being like, well, you can't say anything. Like, I don't want to sound like a wuss. Fuck that.
Yeah, fuck that.
Fuck that. Just speak up immediately. Get the hell out of a situation that doesn't feel right. Just don't do this. Don't do what these people are doing, which is, I understand my frustration with this movie was with that the entire time. Now, I think I buy into it, but I think it also it it's just beyond belief to me that not enough of them are also saying off to the side, like, I don't want, this is weird, right? Like, when they're having the side conversations, it would make sense if at least one or two of them was like, so, like, what's going on here?
Yeah, or like Ben early on in the party is like, so I just got fucking full-on slapped in the face by the host.
So that's weird.
That's weird, right? And he stays? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I get the feeling and desire that, like, you know, this is your friend and she's gone through something hard and you haven't seen her and you want to be there for her.
And you went through it together, yeah.
You went through it together, and you may even be understanding that she's has an emotional outburst. I mean, that's fine. I could very easily see her slapping me and then apologizing and me being like, all right, cool. But she doesn't do that. She doesn't apologize. She says to move on because she has.
Right. Well, and then
she's like, what?
I don't understand how anybody at this party managed to bite their tongue when that one guy said, penguins are overrated. Are you fucking kidding me? Penguins are overrated? Are you crazy?
First off, no. Penguins are not overrated.
Nope.
That is crazy.
That's
what is
crazy
wrong with you?
It's lunacy. Penguins are overrated. My goddamn ass. Fuck politeness. And fuck you if you don't like penguins.
Go to hell.
Now, Steve, the cast in this, I want to know more about.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about the cast. I mean, we already talked about Michael Huisman, Logan Marshall Green. We know, you know, all that. We do have John Carroll Lynch, who is absolutely amazing as Pruitt and is amazing in all sorts of stuff. From American
he's always
Horror
like
Story,
somebody's
Zodiac.
dad and everything. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Fargo. I mean, Fargo is his like cutest role.
Oh,
for sure.
That's where she's like, I got you some Arby's.
Yeah, god damn it, I love that movie so much. It's great. Anyway, John Carroll Lynch, I love him, and he's amazing as a horror villain because he does have like, he has an intimidating presence, but he has a face you trust.
Totally, yeah.
He just looks like a nice dad or something. But he's a big guy, so also
he can get intimidating for sure.
Yeah. There's another guy in here though, Dr. Joseph on those videotapes. Did he look familiar to you, Ben?
Okay, yes. It was driving me insane, and I was kind of hoping that we'd see more of his character, but he's just kind of limited to like 2 videos on that laptop, and that's about it.
Well, there's one place you may remember him from that's recent, and that is he was the dad in Halloween 2018. He was married to
Holy
Judy Greer.
shit. He is that like funny, fucking corny dad in the new Halloween.
Yeah. But what you don't know, Ben, and what's gonna blow your dick clean to Mars.
Oh my god, I've barely got any left. It's just a nub at this point.
Toby Huss was Artie, the strongest man in the world.
Bull fucking shit.
No. Absolutely.
No way.
Yep.
You're talking about the character from The Adventures of Pete and Pete that could be summoned by letting loose tire air.
Yep.
Holy
Artie, the strongest man in the world.
I cannot believe this. So you're saying the dad in the new Halloween is Artie?
Yep.
Okay, I am now dickless. It's gone.
Yep,
it's
gone.
Just
it's on
gone.
Mars.
It's been vaporized.
It's up there. On
It
Mars,
looks like
hanging out.
Thanos just snapped it off. It's just dust evaporating at this point. Holy fuck. That is goddamn Artie. I had no idea.
I didn't either.
I knew
I was
he was
looking
familiar.
at his IMDb. Yeah, you see his face, and he just looks so familiar. I was like, man, what's he from? And I was like, oh, Halloween 2018. I was looking through the IMDb, and I was like, wait a second. No way. Artie?
Artie, the strongest man in the world. Pete and Pete, dude. Fuck.
Yeah,
what a
such
great show. What a great show. Dude, I had no idea about that. Yeah, this movie is kind of full of people that you know from stuff, but you don't know them. I thought that the chick playing Eden was really familiar, and I was like, she kind of looks like, well, again, the bag cereal version of Liv Tyler.
She does. She's recently been in that Tom Hanks Mr. Rogers movie.
Man, I've been putting that off because I know that's going to be a world
I know it's
going
to be a cry. Yeah.
Ooh, I'm not ready for that kind of ugly cry right now.
Nope. Yeah, she does. Yeah, she looks a bit like Liv Tyler. That's a good point.
Yeah, she's like across between
in this.
her and what is her name? Somewhere over the rainbow. I'll see you in St. Louis. Whatever her name is, Judy Garland.
Judy Garland. Okay. Yeah. Wow. Good
She's
combo.
like if those two people got in one of the telepods in The Fly.
Yeah, and then
got
came
merged
out
together.
Not a creature that is
And
pitiable and you want to destroy.
Dude, how about when she fucking shoots herself in the stomach? Talk about the
Dude, that's
dumbest goddamn
brutal.
suicide ever.
You just bleed out. It would take so long.
Bleeding out and sepsis. What a dumb ass way to kill yourself, dude. And here's another thing about this movie that I just don't fucking get. So the whole plot of this party is like everybody dies, right?
Right.
So why do they get mad whenever Will kind of accidentally, they think, kills Sadie? Like he pushes her over, she hits her head on that like piece of furniture or whatever, and they think that she's dead, and they're like mad at him. And it's like, she was gonna die anyway.
Plan. Well, they had a plan that I don't think necessarily involved all of them dying.
Okay.
I believe it involved the cult killing all the other people.
Why?
It seemed like to release their pain was what they were saying.
I mean, but then they're like convicted killers.
Well, as you saw at the end, the entirety of Los Angeles was caught up in the wave of the invitation. So it seemed like a coordinated attack. I think the scene where the lights are like lighting up in the hills, it seems like it may have inspired Us.
I know, right? It totally reminded me of the ending of that when you see like the red hands like holding hands across America and stuff.
Yeah, so and also like whenever you remember like they go out, there's like a scene on the lake that I remember where it kind of indicates that this is happening in all the other houses.
Right.
But, yeah. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it seemed to have like an Us seemed to have like some invitation influence maybe.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, that's honestly probably my favorite part of the movie is the very end whenever they go out there and they see the red lanterns everywhere, because in a sense you see that and you're like, man, this is fucked up. Like this cult is everywhere and everybody's dying. There's sirens and helicopters and screaming and gunshots and stuff like that. But then honestly, like I kind of took a more, I don't know what you'd say, hopeful tone from it in a way, in that considering that this whole cult thing is, about dealing with grief and loss and stuff like this, it's kind of like saying everybody is going through this. Like there is no household that is untouched by grief or loss in some way. And
that's a good point.
You know what I mean? It's like, they dealt with it in a really fucked up way. But I like kind of too that it's showing. It is
an indication that these people aren't alone, but it's also an indication that the large number of people. I think specifically this is some critique on LA culture.
Right,
a large
I got
number
that too,
of people
like Hollywood
in LA
culture,
especially because these are people living in the hills. Like,
under
it does
the Hollywood sign, it shows us even
just right under it directly. But yeah, like so they're the idea is, I think, more that this is spread among these detached, slightly strange people who are also experiencing loss and grief, but don't have maybe the real world experience to know how to deal with it, and sometimes have a little too much money to deal with it.
Right. Yeah.
So they seek so many different therapies and things that are just off the beaten path. Maybe they're more likely to, wind up in a cult.
Yeah.
I mean, we're definitely
we see all the time.
Yeah. We're definitely, dealing with Scientology, as we said, but like, the Manson family, they killed up in the Hollywood Hills. So like, there's also some indication towards the Manson family, especially with the way Will looks. He looks very much like Charles Manson.
Yeah,
like
an old hippie and stuff.
Yeah.
And Sadie is very reminiscent of the kind of like flower child kind of personality that you kind of associate with the Manson bunch. And there's allusions to other cults and stuff too. I mean, they specifically mentioned that they're giving everybody phenobarbital, which is what killed the Heaven's Gate cult members.
Right. Yeah.
The
Heaven's
I believe
Gate.
drank it in vodka and juice or something, if I'm not mistaken.
Applesauce as well, yeah.
Oh, yeah, and applesauce. That's right, yeah. And it produced that foaming in the mouth kind of response and stuff like we see, I think, Gina go through in the movie.
Yeah, Gina's the only one who drinks it. Everyone else gets killed in much more brutal ways.
Yeah, and it's kind of Jim Jonesy in a sense too. I mean, the idea that they were going to have everybody drink something and escape this world and all its memories. Sorry, not memories. This world and all its misery and stuff is
evil,
very Jim Jonesy in a way. I think that there's also maybe a little bit of that NXIVM vibe. Now, I think that the NXIVM stuff happened.
Though that's more
this.
of a. I'd say he's more of like a Rasputin type of character because he's trying to surround himself with only women, basically.
Yeah, the fucking.
But
Vanguard.
it is very much a cult for sure.
Yeah, definitely, and again, it attracts people with way too much money in the Hollywood Hills and shit like that. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't know. I mean, I like that it kind of draws from a variety of different cults rather than just sort of trying to imitate one. I kind of wish that we would have gotten a little bit more of the mythos and mythology. I mean, I love occult stuff. I love finding out about all those kinds of things about cults.
Yeah.
So I would have done well with having a little bit more of that in the movie, but then again, that probably would have made it all the more obvious what was going on here, you know?
Right.
I mean, maybe it would have been better if the whole kind of cult angle seemed to win some of these people over and some of these people got interested because they had gone through things that they couldn't let go of or whatever. But the fact is that this entire dinner party, they're like, hey, maybe join our cult. Here's a video of some lady dying. And everybody's like, that's kind of fucked up. I'll pass.
Yeah, not interested, weirdos.
Yeah, it kind of makes you kind of the whole
kiss
movie.
You.
Okay. Yeah.
I've never played I Want at a party, but that seems like some real like teenage party shit.
Yeah, again, another point where I'd be like, and it's time to leave. See you later.
Yeah, not interested. Not interested in the adult version of Truth
Spin
or
the
Dare.
bottle or whatever, right? Yeah, that's going to be a hard pass for me, even if there is some great blow at the end of the rainbow there.
Oh, man. What? That was a weird little addition.
A weird little bit right there.
Okay, fine. Gina's going to snort some coke, I guess.
All right, then. What do you think about the acting in this? I mean, we've talked about the cast a bit, but how do you think that they do?
I mean, it feels natural.
Man, I don't think so, personally.
Okay.
They whisper. Everybody fucking whispers. Nobody speaks at full volume unless they're yelling. Everybody, the whole movie, is always talking like this all the time.
Well, except when they're talking to the whole group. Then they're just talking normal.
I was like pumping the volume up the whole time, man. I don't know, man. I thought that the one part in the movie where Will says, like, this is a direct quote. Will says, "I don't know how to act," and I was like, "Wow, this just got really meta."
Wow.
I don't know. To me, everything just seemed very stilted, and maybe it is due to all the weird, like, clumsy exposition that I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
I just didn't think the dialogue and stuff was written very well. Like, the actors probably did as good of a job as they could, but it's just not really how people talk.
I don't know. It didn't, and none of it stood out to me.
Word.
As necessarily weird.
I mean, apparently I'm in the minority here because a lot of people love this movie, but to me, like, a lot of it just seemed really unnatural. I think that Eden did a really good job. I thought that she was very convincing as this person who has been kind of off the grid, and then they show back up, and they're kind of like a little bit spacier, more spiritual, weirder than they used to be. I thought that she and David did a pretty good job. Will was just so flat the whole movie. He was just so emotionless. And I'll tell you what, man, that's a hard thing to play. Like, playing emotionless, I'm just trying to remain steady and calm and not react. It's really hard to do that convincingly. I mean, recently we watched through Sex Education on Netflix, like I was talking about a couple weeks ago, and there's a character on there that has a really kind of fucked up, weird life that is very emotionless through most of the show because he's just trying to, suppress his emotions and stuff. And he does it incredibly well. And I can't even really tell you what the difference is between the way that he acted in terms of being emotionless and unreacting versus the way that Will did in this, where the whole movie he's pretty emotionless. I can't really tell you what makes one better than the other, but I don't know. It was better in the other case than it was in this. Because to me, in this movie, he was just so flat.
I didn't think of Will as emotionless at all. I mean, he has several emotional outbursts.
Well, you know what,
movie.
though? I mean, maybe this is also telling us more about, again, kind of the topic of the movie, the way people deal with grief. I mean, maybe the way that I see Will is I'm seeing I would not react that way, and you're seeing it as I would act that way, so it seems natural. I mean, maybe we're just kind of seeing the different lenses you can experience this movie through.
That's true. I mean, like, absolutely. For me, it's about anxiety. I have anxiety, and I'm feeling Will the whole time. I get it.
Okay, there you go.
I understand. Like, to me, it's like he doesn't want to be there. You can tell, but he also thinks he should. And so it's a constant anxiety. And then also there are weird things going on, but other people aren't acknowledging it. And I've definitely in my teenage years had outbursts where stuff like that was happening, where it was just like, no, we have to talk about this because this is obviously happening and you're all denying it. Like,
yeah,
like just not being able to. But of course, as I said, I would leave. That is my coping mechanism for that situation.
Yeah, cut out.
Get the fuck out. So I did understand his anxiety, but I was also frustrated because I would leave. So I didn't get at a certain point that there was enough reason for him to stay. So I also have trouble with the movie, but not the same situation. But I think you might be right. It might have to do with, like, I mean, what would you do in this situation? Like,
cut out.
Not this. Yeah, you cut out. Yeah. Okay.
You know, it's like I would be like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. You guys are really weirding me out. I've just made this new girlfriend. I'm moving on with my life. You guys are clearly stuck in the past. I haven't
seen any of you in 2 years anyway. Like that, I also felt like that was kind of one of the elements that's going on, is that Will is awkward because they abandoned him for 2 years.
Uh-huh. Yeah, like that group of friends and stuff.
Yeah, like they weren't there for him, so it's got to feel awkward and probably not exciting to do.
Sure.
I just don't, I don't get the entire, like, why you would go. For real. I just don't get it.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, especially it's like, this is my ex-wife, and she wants me to come to the house where our kid died and stuff. Yeah. I did like how in the movie, every time he has like a flashback about, the son and stuff like that, it's like he'll walk by a particular room in the house, and then you just kind of seamlessly transition into a flashback where the kid is there playing in that room. And it's not like I don't know, visually it is kind of explicit. Like the flashbacks are usually like cooler colors, and the present day is these warmer colors and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's never really made like super explicit that he's having a flashback. Like there's no like, Vaseline filter on the lens or anything like that. I kind of like that it shows that this is something that he's not gotten rid of. He's not just disposed of his grief for his kid. He still has the memories and stuff like that, and they'll hit you like a ton of bricks just when you happen to walk by a certain room or think of a certain thing. It makes you think about when that kid was in that room playing with those dinosaurs and shit like that.
Yeah.
I like that it shows that, just because his attitude with his grief is to take it head on doesn't mean that he's gotten rid of it or disposed of it or he acts like none of it's ever happened. It's still very much with him, and I like that they show that in the movie.
Yeah. I think that might be some of his motivation for actually going there is just getting to reminisce, to try to remember
the good times and stuff.
Yeah, a bit of the stuff that he's trying to move on from, but to just try to remember the good times, and it also gets caught up with the bad times. So, yeah, I mean, it's always going to be a bittersweet idea of going back over something that devastating. I just can't imagine though. I again, like in my own head, I can't imagine. I can imagine maybe forcing myself to go to like just confront the fear or the worry I had. But the second things got weird, I'd be like, okay, no, fuck this, off we go, bye-bye.
Yep, see you later, for sure. I will tell you, though, like, as much as I'm bitching about things in this movie, I will say one thing that I think that it did handle very well is the gay couple in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
That were just two dudes that were there, and it was never announced that they were gay. Yeah, it's not like, oh, we're here, your token gay friends, or like every party needs a gay couple. Have you noticed that we're gay? Like, I like that they just played it off that it's just like, well, yeah, just like in real life, these are two people that are in a relationship that don't have to announce their sexuality every 2 seconds, just like in real life, unlike what you see in movies all the fucking time.
Yeah, where it's just they don't know how to write a gay character as a complex character, as someone who acts the way a person acts. Yeah. I think Miguel may be bisexual because when he asks for a blowjob, he's just generally to the room. Like,
oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I like that.
That's interesting, too, because my other observation is that they made the bisexual character, Sadie, the fucking lunatic.
Right, but I think she's a lunatic just in general, and probably uses all of her life to lunatic. Like, she is
lunatic
cool
in 24/7.
Yeah, she's like, oh, you can lunatic like crazy when you're sex. When you're sex? You heard me.
When you're sex.
When you're sex, you can lunatic. Everybody knows that.
Please make that into a song.
Yeah, when you're sex, you can lunatic. Anyway.
But yeah, like I said, I liked how they handled the dudes. I thought that it was just one of those things where it's just like, you're watching the movie and you're like, oh, those guys are a couple.
Yeah, they are. It's interesting. I mean, yeah, I think, I really think the action, the 20 minutes of action that we get is well done. And I like the build up to it. I think it works really well. So like, I would say there's certainly the negatives. There are certainly issues, but I like this movie. I enjoy it. I think it's I think if you haven't seen it, it's worth a watch. But by this point, why have you listened this long if you haven't seen it?
Yeah, really, right?
But go watch it. I would like to hear from other people who didn't like it, because I have seen other people say they didn't like it, but I haven't seen why. So I would like to see what it is, because I think you might have hit on something that, like, if you don't buy into Will's anxiety, then you're not really with the movie, and it's just gonna be one of those like, okay, so when's the cult stuff gonna happen? And it takes far too long for that to happen if that's what you're waiting on.
That's what I was waiting on, because to me the whole time it was just so very obvious, like, okay, I'm watching a horror movie. These people are acting weird. They're in a cult. It's
gonna get weird, yeah.
Yeah, I know shit is gonna go south. And then so for me, the whole movie was just waiting 80 minutes through a ton of exposition and monologues.
You're right. You're right. Actually,
happening.
Trying to see it for that perspective, it's like, so much shit happens that really only just adds to you expecting something to happen.
Yep. I'll tell you, to me, what could have made this better, what would have made this a more interesting movie. So, I mean, obviously, like I said earlier, more convincing red herrings to where I'm constantly second guessing, like, is this in Will's head or not?
Right.
I wish that more of that was there. Or, to me, the other angle that would have made this better and more interesting is to really get deeper into the relationship of Kira and Will. And basically... Yeah, I feel like Kira is really underused, because she's actually a really great actress in this, and she's just kind of scenery most of the time. I would have liked it better if it was more of an analyzation of what it's like to get back into your partner's, ex's life, to get into that sphere and how strange it is. Like, honestly, if Kira was the main character, I think this would have been a better movie. That
would have improved the movie for sure, yes.
For her to be like, I'm with this new guy,
especially
he's got an ex-wife, and now I'm going back and getting into that world and experiencing what that was like and how awkward and strange this is. I think that would have been a better movie.
And Will keeps walking off and talking to other people in whispers, and
just
you don't know what's
her,
going
dude.
on. Yeah, but I mean that adds to the tension, like what's going on, what is happening here. Like she knows less than Will. If we're seeing it through her eyes, then it would help with the problem that you and I think a lot of people probably do have with this, is that it seems pretty obvious what's going to happen from the beginning. If we're seeing it from her perspective, we get so much less information. And maybe that would work a whole lot better.
That's my opinion anyway. I think that you could have got into some great relationship dynamics, dealing with your partner's past and past relationships and stuff. And then also dealing with them being back in a house where they lived such a huge part of their life and their fucking son died and all that stuff. And they have to go off and go back into the kid's old room and go and explore the house on their own and do these things and get through them on their own. But how that also leaves you literally and emotionally stranded in the meantime while they work through their past. I think that's a better movie.
Well, yeah, I think for sure there's something there that would be probably play out much more interesting and play out in a way that we haven't seen before. Like, I don't know, maybe Ready or Not plays with that, as does You're Next. They both kind of play with that a little bit, but
yeah, Ready or Not is way more like, I'm getting into your family now. What is this like?
Yeah,
very much so. Yeah,
but Ready or Not also reveals a lot in scenes where we're not seeing her. But I think, if we're only seeing Kira and only seeing what she sees, it adds to the creepy factor. You're not sure what's going on. You're not even sure if Will is in on it because he keeps sneaking off to talk to people and
that could have been a cooler movie too. Yeah. Or maybe even that, he was a part of this cult and that's why he left and stuff. Like, that could have been neat if you're like, maybe he's a part of it again the whole time. I don't know.
But okay. I mean, but for the movie that we got, I enjoyed it. I liked the way it played out. I think it could be improved. I definitely think there were too many characters. At the end of the day, it's a well done, like well shot, well paced movie if you buy into certain things. If you don't, it takes a long time to pay off what you expect is going to happen anyway. So
totally, man.
So if I'm going to slap a rating on this, I'm going to give it a 6.5, I'd say, to a 7, maybe.
Ooh, man, well above your middle-of-the-road Autopsy of Jane Doe average, huh?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I think I watched this a second time and had forgotten Choi hadn't been killed and bought into it again. So I enjoyed the movie. I didn't have many complaints until I really started trying to look at it critically, and even then, like, I maybe you cut a couple characters, whatever, but it works for me.
Right on, man. I get it. And I mean, from us talking about it, it is one of those situations where it's like maybe your expectations or real life experiences might tamper with your viewing of this movie. For me, in my own perspective, I just thought it was really boring. I thought it was really boring and really long. And considering that, like, I just kind of felt from the first second that I knew what was going on with this house party and this cult and stuff, and I was just waiting for it to happen. It's like fucking waiting for Christmas, It's just like, it just, come on already. When does it start? And instead, I just get tons of monologues and stuff. I almost feel like this is one of those flicks that, as we oftentimes say with movies that kind of flow like this one does, it could have been a great 20-minute short in an anthology. I feel like you could have gotten about everything out and left some of those unanswered questions and left them sort of vague and ambiguous in a way, and that would have given you something to think about after you left the theater or whatever. I feel like you could have told this movie a lot more succinctly than an hour and 40 minutes, When the action starts, it's good. I think the soundtrack and stuff is actually pretty good. I think the soundtrack in this is pretty well serving the movie. But overall, I just don't really care about the characters. I don't know why they didn't just fucking leave. So for me, considering
it is the absolute logical thing to do, just
right?
leave.
Yeah, because it's not like there was anything really barring them from leaving.
No.
I mean, even it's like,
No.
oh, the front doors are locked. Well, you can unlock them.
Could you unlock this door, please? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There's not a keyed entry to leave the house.
Yeah.
So to me, it's just like, unless there was like
they had, that's why they couldn't unlock the doors.
Man, that just seems like kind of like locking the house up to lock it up and make it impossible for people to leave. Just kind of like, oh, there's no cell service up here. It's like, well, okay.
That is, I mean,
you have to do that in
fair,
horror movies.
that is also true of that area of Hollywood.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh,
they have bad cell service up in the hills.
Yeah, so for me, I was just not engaged with the characters and the logic. I thought a lot of it was just kind of like artistically shot for the sake of doing it that way, not really to make it better. I was bored, man. Like, for me, this movie, it is competently shot. There's some nice looking shots and stuff in here. Soundtrack is good. There's a couple of good performances. And again, I like the very, very end of the movie. Like the very, very, very end. I think it's pretty cool. God, man, I'm a lot lower than you. I'm like 2.5. I have no idea when I would ever watch this movie again. It's just not fun or entertaining to me. So it seems like if you watch this movie, it is clearly a love it or leave it. Usually you and I are pretty eye to eye on movies. This is not one of those times. So this tends to be a very polarizing movie. So I hope that you guys enjoy it. It seems like I'm kind of in the minority because I know a ton of people love this flick.
Yeah. People were big on it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, who knows?
Who knows?
Maybe everybody agrees with you, and they wanted us to cover it because they were like, oh, they're going to drag that piece of shit. It'll be funny. And then I'm like, I like this movie.
And now we're going to see trending on Twitter, #FuckSteve.
Yeah, #FuckSteve, #canceled. I'm getting canceled for liking the invitation.
This is when you did your Hollywood Steve NWO turn. NWO. You're gonna show up next week and have your fucking your beard dyed black and your sideburns blonde and stuff.
Yeah, spray painting my beard. Why did he do that?
I'm not sure. I've never been sure. I remember being a child and being like, "That's not real."
Yeah, obviously. That's weird.
I'd watch the suplexes and body slams and be like, real. Then I'd see that beard and be like, not real.
Not real.
Not fooling anybody. Well, Steve, we're going to have ourselves a fun time on the show next week because we're going to be talking a ton of shit.
Hell yeah.
What are we talking about?
We talking about that Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire.
Oh my God, it's wild card time, and we do this every year for Harry's birthday, so that must mean this is the 4-year anniversary of the show. Holy shit.
Yeah, it is.
That's a long time.
We've been doing it a while.
Been a long time. Podcast time. Remix.
Oh, really changed it up. Damn.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about that Goblet of Fire, and it's going to be fun because it has fuck all to do with the book. This is where the movie, well, honestly, Azkaban is really where it got to where it's just like, fuck the book. Whatever. There's a werewolf in it and time travel. Whatever.
Yeah.
This movie really doesn't follow the book at all.
So we'll be talking about how J.K. Rowling sucks now and has sucked for a while, and people have been telling us she sucks, and finally she was like, I want everyone to know how much I suck.
Just putting it out there for everybody.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about how much she sucks. We're going to talk about how little that movie has to do with the book. We're going to talk about all the fun stuff and probably even, maybe, get back to drinking some beers.
Uh-oh, get some co-beers going on. That's right. So be sure to tune in next week, and we'll be talking about that one. In the meantime, if you like the show and want to help support us, be sure to sign up for the Patreon page where you'll get access to those goody bonus episodes we were talking about. More like boners episodes, am I right?
Boners episode. Not.
They can find that at patreon.com/
Dead and Lovely.
If you like the show and want to hang out with the cool kids on Facebook, you can find us at facebook.com/
Dead and Lovely.
If you like pictures and you're on Instagram, you can find us at Instagram/
at Dead and Lovely Pod. At Dead Lovely Pod. That's us on Twitter and Instagram. So go check us out. Go check out Twitter. I'm on there a lot, just commenting on people's shit, making obscene jokes, I made a joke about butt chugging the other day. Didn't go over well with anybody. It's fun.
Uh-oh, little joke about butt chugging, huh?
Yeah. It was about White Claw.
Oh, okay, a little White Claw
My
joke.
theory is that it's easier to butt chug White Claw than a beer, because a beer is going to be foaming up, and now you're just covered in sudsy shit beer, and you're stone cold sober. So, just a piece of advice.
You know what? Speaking of social media and butts, I meant to mention this earlier. I texted you about this the other day, but I got one of those great Facebook fake profile friend requests, that's from like sexy lady, and it's just like her profile picture is just boobs.
Yes, I get one of those every couple of days.
All the time. And I clicked on the profile, and the first thing that they have posted is a link to a clearly fake YouTube channel. And the video title is, "Please come to me to suck my butt." Which I love so much. Please come to me to suck my butt.
Sexy thing.
Suck my butt. That's like something you told your friends in middle school.
Yeah, exactly.
Suck my butt, ass wipe.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Good times.
Yeah. I could see how that would entice a man.
I love bots. Do you think that like bot humor is like the future of comedy?
Yes, I do. I
do
think
too.
bots are really gonna get us one day. I don't know if you know this, but those Zoomers, their humor is a little weird.
Ooh, man. Ooh.
Yeah. So bots are probably gonna be the only one that can keep up with them. Humans are gonna be trying to do comedy, and they're gonna be like, I don't get it. Nothing's deep fried.
To suck
What's going on
butt.
here? Yeah, that's it. Yes.
That's the joke of the century right there. Well, be sure to tune in next week for all kinds of butt chug talk, as well as Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. All kinds of other good stuff. Tune in then. We'll catch you guys later. Thank you so much for listening to the show and all the support on Patreon. Everybody stay home, stay healthy, wash your goddamn fucking hands.
And your ass.
That thing's nasty. You got to be washing that thing before somebody can come and suck it.
So,
right? Thanks for tuning in. We have been Uncle Ben.
Hollywood Steve.
We've been Dead Lovely. Peace out. All right, so I've got a secret plan that we need to enact in order to get everybody taking the coronavirus situation seriously.
Okay.
Disinfecting themselves, especially all these like fucking douchey bro dudes that refuse to go out wearing a mask or do anything cool, like that to protect themselves and be a good person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just putting it out there. Curve scented hand sanitizer.
Oh my. I don't know if the kids wear the Curve anymore, do they?
All right. Axe body spray now with disinfectant.
That works.
Axe antibacterial.
Now somebody in their 20s listening just found out that Curve and Axe are similar. Though
yeah.
I would say there were other cheaper body sprays back in the day too. Man, there have always been ways to smell really bad while thinking you smell good as a teenager.
Oh, yeah, dude. And also for the ladies, they can make Victoria's Secret Love Spell antibacterial.
Also very 90s.
Oh, I'm stuck in time. What can I say, man?
That's awesome. Yeah. No, yeah, that's a good idea.